What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Point Leader 75. That's the name of the channel. Alright, so today we're going to do something a little bit different, and we are actually going to take a deeper look into the way I go through things and the way I process things as I create a car intended for BeamNG, coming from automation. So we are going to take a look at the creation of a car, pretty much. Today I am gonna try to make sort of a car specifically for the handling course, the automation test track, the handling course, and so that's what we'll have in mind. And yeah, we have plenty of cars, but I'm gonna start out with a completely new one. So let's create a new one. Alright, so we are going to use the latest possible and then have a look through the bodywork that we want to use or base the car of. And I am thinking something that is quite modern, but not too modern. We want to have something that has a good base to it. And I am going to take a look at something along this kind of body. Let's see where we have it. Somewhere around here. I don't want to go too far back in time. I thought I had it somewhere up here. I want to do a coupe. If I can just find a good coupe to work with. Something like this, so about 2.7 meters in wheelbase. That is a good car to work with. It's really nimble and it's a good chassis to work with. But I'm going to try something a little bit different though. And these are obviously going to be the LaFerrari-ish cars. I'm not so sure which one we are going to be using, but it's definitely going to be a two-door coupe. So, alright, so 2.7 was the wheelbase we're going to base it off. So 2.9 might be a little too long of a wheelbase. 2.6, I'm not sure what kind of engine we could put in this thing. We can put in pretty much anything we want, from front, mid to rear engine. So we're gonna alright, let's try that car and see what we can do with it. Now the car is supposed to be a track car for the handling course. So we're gonna try, alright, let's try with disregard of cost, of course. Let's try something that is a bit, let's see if we can find something that is really light. We'll start up with that one and see the weight is actually far. Yeah, alright, so aluminium for the chassis. And we are going to use a let's try the rear longitudinal push rods if we can, and see, yeah, we're gonna go double wishbone. We're gonna up the quality to maximum, and we don't name anything yet until we know that we have something that we can work with. And low center of gravity, I'm thinking of something either it's gonna be boxer 6. And I'll make it at, let's see, pretty high rev variant. And let's make it a as close as we can to 3 liters. There we go. And we want to have as much RPM as possible. Emissions not too important. Go with the best materials and up the quality. It's supposed to be a race car, so it's gonna have to be at least a profile, a cam profile for that. Turbocharged, of course, and we are gonna initially put it at racing. And racing, and like so. Now it is a 3 liter, so we can probably put it up at I don't know, maybe 8,300 RPM or so. Should be okay. And the rest we are going to set up as soon as we have a value to work with. That's a pretty good value. 500 horsepower for as much as we have currently. And that's without any tweaking. Alright, so let's see. Without any tweaking, we can probably, I'd say we'll go for maybe 700 horsepower top, maybe 600 somewhere there. That's probably a good number. So let's go for 70 to begin with. And then, what's the cam? Well, no, actually, let's work with the turbo first. I'm gonna make it a very reliable turbo, so it's not gonna be stressed in any way. 1.5 bar should be okay. Intercooler is definitely too low, so we're gonna up it to maybe some 800-900 somewhere there. Should be fine, and we're already at 733 horsepower. That's that looks good. Turbine is definitely in need of maybe 70 millimeters somewhere there. Gonna put the compressor down a little bit. That's gonna make the top end a little bit flat, but it's better. It's not gonna be too surprising. We are gonna keep it at least above about this power band here at this range, so we should be fine. And then let's work with the compression. We could probably put it at, I'm gonna put it at 10. That's a good compression. And then fine tune the whole thing and have a look at the result. V1, it might be a little bit loud. It's looking good, and we have our engine. Alright, I am gonna have a look at the body and see if I can do any tweaking to it. Something that will look nice, of course. And we are gonna make it wide, at least in the back. A little wider in the front. Not necessarily too wide. It is supposed to be drivable. Something like that. That's a good, that's a really good shape. This doesn't have to be that high. I'll put it at 5 to begin with. And let's give it a nice color. Let's see. I'll give it something that stands out a little bit. So let's do a new color. Let's do a new color, and it's gonna be a lime green, I think. That's pretty cool. So I am gonna make it a lime green one. I'm gonna have to rename it. Let's see, lime green racing. That's a good name for it. And let's make it that, and then find it in the library and color it, and then we're gonna adjust it a little bit because it needs to have a little bit like, let's see. Yeah, that's a nice color for it. Alright, and then we are gonna make the wheels. Let's see. Yeah, let's make them matte black. Put some trimming on them. Maybe race yellow or something. There we go. And let's start with that and take it to the next part. Choose the rims. That's the first thing I do because that determines sort of like the rest of the design of the car. So we're gonna choose something that kind of fits this this kind of bodywork. It's okay. Let's go with that. And then we're gonna do the rest of the design. I'm gonna do that separately. We're gonna use sequential. This is a race car. We're gonna use vicious limited slip differential. Up it to 15 quality. Everything is supposed to be top notch. Best tires, semi-slicks. And then we're going to use 345, 265 to begin with. So that might change. Figure is not always the best, especially not for a race-ish car. See how much we can widen the tire base or the wheel base without necessarily. 70 is a good number. We are at 70 there, so 25, 30 maybe, or 40. Let's go with 30. Carbon fiber, everything to make the car lighter. And then ceramic brakes, we're going to use 4-piston variant. We're going to compensate for this later. We want to have them as racing regardless. We are going to have a look into the tuning for these stuff. We're not going to need any significant downforce. We're going to exclude that actually. The car will be more of a sprinter rather than a high-speed, top-notch racing car for the bigger tracks. No rear seat, and the most simple, like so. We're going to leave it like that. And we are going to be using hydraulic, I think, just hydraulic. And ABS only. We'll see, I might change. No safety. And that'll only add bit weight. Active sport, semi-active. Yeah, that might be good. And we'll work from the race setup. There we go. Well, let's try something like 2.8, somewhere there, and then it's already looking good, like 1.43. So the way the car is set up right now, it's let's see what happened. It's pretty basic. We haven't touched anything, and it should be turning a little bit, and the camber is probably a little bit off anyway, so we'll have to take a look into it anyways on track. From the look of it, we do have some clearance on the ground, not much, but we could probably tinker a little bit with the ride height, see if we get any improvement on, well, we get a, sometimes low is not good at all, because you need that little bit of an extra ability to roll the car sideways as you roll into the corners. So not always it's good to have the car sitting too low for actual transition through the corners. So let's have a look and see if we can get any improvements by increasing the tires. And no, not necessarily, no. So we were probably pretty good off there. Yeah, that looks like an actually good number. And what if we are to lower the car even more? No, that's not good either. And slightly higher. Well, that could work, but it's quite high. I got plenty of room. I'm gonna see if we can work a little bit with that. Alright. I think it's actually pretty good the way it is. Top speed obviously is higher, so we're going to change to at least, doesn't have to go that fast. I'd say 300 kilometers an hour. It's more than well. Something like that. And third gear should be around, for a smaller track anyways. I'd try somewhere there. Now we are going to have an issue here with wheel spin, so, but that's something we're going to have to work with, or around rather. Alright, so now let's work on the braking, and the distribution is at 38 front, 62 rear, and that's because we have the engine at the rear. That we might actually put the engine, let's go back all the way here to, like, can we go back to the chassis? Here we go. See if we can do mid-longitudinal. Maybe that'll do a little difference. The current engine does not fit. Okay, so we're gonna go with front. Yeah, now it fits in the car. See what we have to work with. Same top speed. Put it up a little bit, and then maybe 310. There we go. We're gonna have wheel spin on all gears. That's gonna be interesting though. And yeah, severe issues with wheel spin, but hey, 700 horsepower. That's there's no question about it. What are we looking at on the weight distribution? Much better. much better. Would be nice with a mid-engine though. That would be perfect, but we could decrease the engine size perhaps just to compensate for the extra amount of horsepower, just to keep it nice and balanced. It needs to be drivable, not necessarily a crazy car. So we're gonna go front transverse, not front mid longitudinal. Push rods, and then decrease the size of the engine. I think it doesn't fit. So let's go with maybe a 2.8 maybe. Would that fit? No, it needs to be smaller. It could be a 2-liter, but I think that's just going to be a little too small for our purpose. 2.3, no, 2.2, 2.5 maybe. Maybe I can push it up to 2.5. And that is if it actually fits with, say, choice of body that we picked. There we go. It doesn't fit, so let's try a 2-liter. Or we could try a regular engine, 4-cylinder. Engine should fit now. There's a bug. That's probably a bug. There we go. Alright, let's try that and see where we're at. Okay, the current engine does not fit. Mid transfers. I sure would like to have push rods if I can. Alright, so we're gonna have to probably have a look into a different body type. I don't know. I don't want to go too small on the engine though. That's gonna be so much harder. Unless I do a V6 maybe. No, it doesn't fit. Alright then, we're gonna have to I'm gonna have to look into a different body type. Maybe the slightly bigger one might do it. Current engine does not fit. Oh, no wonder. It's a slightly longer body, that's for sure. Yeah, let's try that and use multi-link. I'm going to use some McPherson and a push rod at the rear. That might work. Let's try that. See where we're at. balance wise. That's actually a little bit better. Alright, let's go for that. Have to have a look into what we have here. Possible top speed decreased a little bit, but that's not too important. And so did some of that. Well, I don't know what we should be at. Maybe something like that. That would be nice, just for the fun of it. Not sure whether that's a actual good number right there, but we'll try that. See where it lands. Oops. Going back to some of the body molding. White body and a long bonnet style, sort of. I definitely like that. That's the roundness. I think it's the rounded. Well, keep it wide. Might as well. Gotta have the design in mind here. That's not too shabby. Let's go with that. And then fix the wheels again. There we go. Now they're back to where they're supposed to be. .265 is a good width. I don't think we're gonna get any. We do. Alright. That's a pretty wide configuration. May not be the ideal. .95, .96. Okay, we're gonna stick with there. I don't know. It might look, yeah. Alright, let's stick with that for now. The width is probably pretty good. Yeah, we'll stick with that. See if we can get anything more out of it. I don't think we're pretty optimized the way it looks like anyways. Weight distribution is 55-45. That's pretty good. Now we just need to work on the brakes a little bit, of course. They're way too powerful. Alright, let's put 310 front, 250 rear, and then work with the something like that should be pretty good. Let's give ourselves a little bit of an overhead margin so that we can lock our brakes, sort of ish, and then have a look at this again. No downforce to speak of anyways. Yeah, we're going to use that like so. civic wheel spin, but hey, we don't care too much. Alright, let's just make some simple stuff to it. Try to figure out what we want for this car. I'm gonna try something here. Something with a little bit of a character to it. Do kind of like these though. That looks pretty sleek. A little bit more of an angle. Needs to look right from all the angles. Like so, maybe. How much can we? Alright, so they're supposed to touch that part a little bit better. Oh, there we go. That's a nice angle. Something like that. Should look pretty neat from the side as well, like a very sleek looking bonnet. I'm going to use a rough shape. I'm going to use one of the mods here. I think it's sort of like an Aston Martin-ish look to it. We're just going to center it first and then work with the layer order. So these are always going to be the top layer. See if we can. I'm going to overlap a little bit, just a tiny little bit on the bottom there to give it a nice touch. How far up can I go? Just to fill it out just enough. I don't know if that will work. What if I do that? Would it? Nah, it just gives that a little overhang lip there. It's not very stylish. Gee, I don't know. Kind of looks cool, but I don't like it that it falls over the lower lip there. I try to stay without crossing the line too much. Whoops, and there's always the Control V. That's okay for now anyways. Alright, so we're going to use the same theme down here. Control and Shift, or Shift and drag pretty much. Or are we going to use a rounded one like so? This is just going to be sort of like the base shape for the underneath part, to give it some nice curve, and then put the vent above that. Just plain simple vent. Put these number 2, these are number 1. That's okay, not too bad. And then we'll give it this is a rough shape of an idea I have. And I'm not going to use any arrow kits or anything, that's just going to spoil them. But we are going to use vents for the wheel arcs. Now these, just plating them first to give them the rough shape that I need. And about so that it go in line with the main intake there. Looks nice from the front, and it looks okay from the side. Now the opening is going to be something like this. Yeah, keep them dark like that. That's more of a nice look, I think. And that pretty much the front. And then I'm going to use a little bit of aggressive stuff here. Go with this theme that I've used before. Something like that. And then it makes them a little bit longer. Now, which one should be layer 1 and 2? That's a pretty sleek looking one. And then we're going to put the badge so that you can actually see it as you're driving. Or like a little high up, like a Lotus or something. It's going to have this V-shape theme to it. Make the border like so, and then like so. It's a speed designing for sure, but I'm pretty sure what I want, so. Alright, so that looks good, and then we need indicators on the front because I don't think we're going to see any other indicator lights. Make it an indicator, and there we go. They may need to be seen from the side, so that's the main purpose for being here. Also being seen from the front. That looks pretty neat. Alright, so the front is pretty much done. Just putting a number plate on it. It needs to be a number plate and make it a German one. Yeah, that looks pretty sleek. It is supposed to be a road legal car, so. And the mirrors. Let's try something cool here. I'll be using these. I kind of like these. Slightly bigger, not too big. And we're going to use a black sort of like a mountain area there. We could go with yeah, that's gonna be looking good. Door handles, let's make something simple. They're about the right size for a change. Angle them slightly to match with the rest of it. Well, there we go. That's a nice placement. Fuel cap, we're going to use a dual fuel system. Of course, it is a race car after all. And mirror it so that we have another one on the other side. Increase the size of it a little bit. That's a pretty nice car. And then let's move around to the tail. And I think I have a pretty good idea here. Let's see, we're going to use something slightly aggressive. And these are going to have taillights in them, so it'll be perfect for this purpose. Make them a little wider. And then make sure that they kind of work with the shape of the car. Well, that's a really nice rear end. Alright, and then we're going to use the lip to up the rear a little bit. Might as well use a downforce looking-ish. We are going to up it quite a bit, and we want to have pretty high aggressive look to it. The width is going to be as wide as the taillights goes, just to give it the matching look. Oh. Let's see what that looks like. It's not quite fitting there the way it should be. Alright, let's go for the width of the tires instead. Other than that, it's actually pretty cool the way it looks, but it's kind of overlapping there a little bit, so we're going to have to change our plans here. Let's go closer to the top and then up it as much as we dare. It's going to clip a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Alright, so that's going to be the look of that. We have a dual system, we already know that. We are going to use a big bore system, something that will kind of fit to this. That's going to be top layer. We're going to mirror it. I always place them first, then I go with, and it's going to be big. Big is nice. And maybe we can compensate a little bit for the lack of detail there at the very bottom of it. angle them slightly, see if that's a good angle, or if we want to angle them the other way. That's a pretty neat angle. Looks pretty aggressive. And then we are going to use, that's going to have to work. Doesn't look like it connects them, but they are connected nevertheless. And it looks like the engine does not have a dual exhaust system. Actually, that's the thing that we haven't had a look into. Let's see. And the engine, yeah, we need to work it again. Exhaust looks good. 78,000 turbine needs to be reworked. About 73. Oh wow, it got actually a bit more powerful. I don't know. It needs to be drivable, and if it spins too much on the tires, we're gonna have an issue. Alright, let's have a look again and see if this engine is working. Nice and even curve. No big surprises along the way there. Come back to this. I might as well put it on 330. That's a good number. And that's 315 on the third. Or 115, and then yeah, that's a good number. Brakes need to be a little bit more powerful. Definitely. Okay, let's give it about 5% overshooting there. And well, what are we looking at right here? Not sure whether the number is actually good, so we're gonna go for something like that. I think that's a better alternative. Let's go with that. All right, back to the design. So now they should have, yeah, now they're connected, both of them. And we need a like a brake light at the bottom there for the racetrack. Place it first and then we work it. That's how we roll. Well, let's see if that works. It does. Alright. Then we're gonna make a third brake light, like the one that we have on top here. I think we did a mistake there. Or did we? Yeah, we definitely did. There we go. That one needs to be. It clipped through on the selection part. Alright, let's make it quite wide. This one needs to be red. And that should be okay. And we will have. Okay, so extra set of indicator lights down here as well. They are going to be I think I'm gonna do them there, but I'm gonna probably switch them that way. And let's see, let's tilt them a little bit to match with the line there. To go with the design, sort of. Alright, so what does it look like? It looks okay. Maybe not as long. Pretty picky when it comes to certain details. I mean, it's supposed to look proper. Putting just below the line, I don't want it to cover the line and don't want it to overlap that little line here either. So that kind of is okay for the purpose. Now it can actually be seen from this side as well. And I did put it on, yep, it's an indicator. Alright. Then we're going to put a back plate, of course. Give it a shape of things. We're going to go with this shape. German signs. And we're going to have to downscale it a little bit, unless that looks okay, but I want to keep the line as clean as possible. Something like that. So it kind of go in line with the taillight shape. It's a little bit, yeah. There we go. It's more. Yeah, that looks good. All right, and we are almost done with the back of it. And we need some nice fat of these, of course. And these we're gonna make double. Decrease the size a little bit and then put them on layer 2. Make them go in line with the rest of it. Something like that, maybe. And that looks pretty okay. But I'd say, let's remake it. That one needs to be a little bit like so that it looks okay from the side. It's pretty important. And then we work on it. Layer 2. Quite a bit actually on that. That looks okay. And we have our the rear end pretty. Let's try to see if we can use any of these scoops to like something to break the line a little bit here. Put it on layer 3, that way it doesn't interfere with. And see, we can shape it a little bit more to go with. There we go. That's nice with something of a center line maybe. I don't know. Nah, let's remove it. I'll keep it nice and clean. Alright, so that one needs to be plastic cover around it. It looks a bit weird with a small green pot down there. And well, that's a pretty nice look for the car, if I may say so myself. And all right, yep, I'll go with this. And what else? I will put a little more of a, not a shark fin that's been so widely used. We're going to use something very simple. Something like that. Yeah, that's perfect. And I think we've got it. Yep, that's the look for the car. Gonna keep it nice and clean. I'm just gonna try one more thing though, because sometimes it looks pretty neat with see if we can make it go in line with the rest of the car here. Without necessarily messing up the shapes, of course. Well, that's pretty neat. There we go. It's a very distinct shape. And then we're going to use the intake for the rear tires, of course. Or for the rear brakes. There we go. That's going to be the look for it. The only thing we're going to change here, of course, we're going to change the lid of this thing. A slightly darker one and then a little lighter there. See if we can do the same thing for the trim of the car. Because I don't really like the trim or the look of it. It's a bit darker there, so that's more of a nice look. Then of course we need, we're going to use a badge down back here. Or do we? No, I'll leave it clean like that, but we're going to need a wiper. We're going to go with the racing style where the wiper is locked to the center. And this is kind of the part that I'm not too fond of because it looks a bit weird when the mount is on the windshield, but yeah, and it looks weird when it looks like that as well. So we're going to make sure that it actually is on the axle as far down as we can, and makes the length somewhat of a believable length. It's probably not all correct anyways, but there we have it. All right, so yeah, I'm sorry it's gonna be a pretty long video, but I thought that for once I'm gonna let you guys see what it looks like when the mindset of me designing my cars. So. And of course, there's always gonna be a need for a little screenshot. And there you have it. All right, time to start doing some testing, and then we're gonna fine tune it a little bit more. So I'll see you guys shortly in BeamNG. All right, time for BeamNG testing. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the garage first and set the car that we're working on as default, because we are going to be jumping back and forth pretty much between the games. So let's find it, and we're going to name it, well actually, this is going to be, as with all my cars, are named Crown, and this is going to be model 18. And we're going to call it the Lime Racing. Yeah, there we go, Lime Racing. That's nice. And it was a Boxer 6. Or was it? Yeah, I think it was a Boxer 6. Boxer 6. No, actually, we're going to call this Model 18 because I have so many engines. And then a dash. Call it Boxer 6. And this one was at 3 liters. There we go. So now we'll just export it to BeamNG. Take it from there, because otherwise it's going to have the wrong name. There we go, it's exported. So now we're heading over to BeamNG and do the first testing. I'll see you guys there. Alright, so we are in the garage section because we want to make sure that the car is selected as default, because that way we should be able to. Actually, I should probably reload this little garage. There we go. So that it exports or imports in a good way. And see if we can find it. Here it is. Lime Racing, the first selection. Nice. It's always nice when things go smooth. And there we have it. Nice. Let's have a look and see if everything works, like the lights. And they do. And the indicators works fine. And the brakes. Well, they should work. And the reverse. And the reverse works. Alright. So let's do this tuning. Or the basic one. I'll leave that as it is. But this, I usually go somewhere around 21, somewhere there to begin with. And then I change along the way as it needs. But this way it's always going to be set to the standard. Like so. And then we can set it as default. And then exit the garage. And then we go ahead and choose the test range that we always go for. Oops. There we go. Testing, and we'll make sure that it's that one, the handle course. And then we select the car, which should be a lime green car. There it is. Be sure that it has the right color. And somewhere in the afternoon is pretty good for the lighting, I think. And hit play. That's gonna be interesting. And there it is. As always, pretty brutal when it enters the course. And it's stuck with... Alright. Oh well. Doesn't matter. Let's give it a go and see how it drives. Definitely understeers a little bit, but it's always yeah, it definitely understeers. Suffers from the wheel spin for sure. A little bit of trail braking there. Yeah, it's very fast. It's very... Alright, so... Let's have a look. Did we...
To better explain this,
Did we have... things carrying over? I don't think we did. No, we certainly did not. As you can use the arrows to fine-tune it. What I usually do is that I override things like so, and let's give it a try with that setup, see if it does any significance. Alright, so it's very easy on the rear. You really have to be careful with the throttle, and it's not very precise on the steering. So let's see, give it another try just to get at least a clean and nice run. Not trying any records good right now. I just want to know what the car can do, if it's just probably too powerful to really be driven in an efficient manner. Oh, you really have to be careful there. Wow. Oh yeah, now I remember. I only went for the ABS, didn't I? Maybe I should go for traction control. So either that, adding traction control plus the ABS, of course, and then maybe remove the turbo. Actually, it might be a better alternative to have this car as a naturally aspirated engine. Throttle response is good though. The steering is good. Well, as long as you don't spin your tires, that is. But yeah, that's yeah, I'm gonna have to do that change because it's simply just undrivable. Alright, see you back in automation. Alright, so the changes we're gonna do is I think we're gonna remove the turbo altogether and rework it a little bit. So we're gonna go with that. But we also have to go back here because now it's not a turbo anymore. It's still very powerful. I mean, we're talking 300 and almost 320 horsepower, and it's gonna get more, but it's gonna be more drivable, I think, because the other one, which is just simply too much, and too much is not always good. So this might be a good sort of ish. That's the thing, though. Do we want to increase the horsepower? I'd say we're going to try to restrict it a little bit to somewhere around there to keep the numbers even. We still have quite a lot of issues with wheel spin, but at least we're going to test the and no question marks there. We need to retweak the gearbox a little bit. And it needs to be down to 300 and somewhere there. Let's put it like that. And I am going to use something like that. Then we're going to go to, since this does suffer quite a bit from wheel spin, we're going to use traction control. We work the brakes a little bit. And let's do an overshoot of 1% on the power. See if we can do anything to this. Yeah, that's probably a better number right there. And alright, let's have a look. Distribution hasn't changed, and the weight of the car is under a ton. That's actually pretty good. 0 to 60 miles an hour in 4.3 seconds. It's decent. Not groundbreaking, but it's decent. Alright, let's work with that. Re-export the car. And hopefully this is gonna do something good to the car. So it's gonna be a little bit more drivable, I think. Not over crazy. We might change the gearing to 7 gears instead of 6. I think that's gonna give it a more even torque throughout the gears. So yeah. Other than that, it looks pretty neat. Slightly longer wheelbase. That might also be the thing. Is shorter wheelbase might be better, but it's hard to say. Alright, so we have exported the car, and I'll see you in BeamNG. Alright, testing with the new settings and see if it's better to drive now. Oh, might be good to start the engine. And now I can actually floor it without spinning, and at least not as what I can tell. It turns really good now. And you can downshift to turn in some more. I can be very early on the throttle, which is great. It's gonna be so nice when I get the better steering wheel back in action. Just gonna order the a new power supply, and then we should have that one up. This one is good, but it's nowhere near the other one. Just being very cautious here. Alright, so it needs to be under 115, so let's give it another try and push it a little harder. We might add some downforce to compensate for it actually. Yeah, I think I'm gonna add some downforce to this car. Yeah, might as well do that before we continue anymore. Alright, let's put some downforce in this baby. So first off, we're gonna put something on the front, not necessarily making the car ugly, just at least something. So it'll be a very simple little touch to it. Because I don't want to lower the front too much. We're gonna have some issues with hitting it in the ground. Something like that. We don't want it to overclip there. Can we go that far? Yeah, that looks okay, and the height is okay. Alright. And I don't know, maybe we should give it some coloration, because we are going to have some of that on the rear end here. See what we can do for the rear, and maintaining the car's nice sleek shape without necessarily ruining it. I still need to be something that stands out a little bit. So put it on there somewhere. See how wide we can go without getting any artifacts on the graphics. Some cars are pretty sensitive in terms of how wide you make them, but then we do want it to be a street legal car, so it can't be wider than the car itself. although the car is quite wide. And this only leaves us to put it closer to the rear axle, because we wanted to push on the rear axle rather than lifting the front up too much, because that's what happens if you put it too far back. I think I'm going to put it like so. It's actually, because it's curved upwards anyway, so it actually works like pretty neat. Go with the same darker seam, and I think we have a nice setup right there. Alright, let's go ahead and do full downforce. We're gonna increase the angle quite a bit because we are on a surface or a circuit where it does matter. We want to increase the front. So we have to decrease the rear. Let's say we want about 60 plus on the front at least. So we're going to down it to 60. 65 should be a good number. Given the weight distribution of the car, I think that's a pretty good number. And then we'll have a look. And we definitely increased the downforce a little bit there. But the really interesting number here is actually that. Yeah, it looks like it could be pretty competitive. Pretty much 2.4 or 2 minutes 4 seconds on the test track, and see what it does on the Top Gear truck. That's a pretty good time right there as well. Alright, and let's have a look again on the brake. The supply value for that should be compensating quite a bit for the weight distribution a little bit better. Alright, let's save it and export it and give it a try again. And I'll be seeing you guys in BeamNG shortly. Alright, back in BeamNG with the updated car and the extra spoiler now. Alright, start it up. Let's see how it drives. If we have made any difference. Yeah, you can definitely feel that the front has better or more grip at least. And the uncertain factor, or the feel of the uncertainty feel, is pretty much eliminated now. And now it's more a matter of learning the car. Find its strengths and weaknesses come on. I have no idea what just happened there. A little too wide there. I'm just testing to see how far I can push it, both in terms of how early I can go in the throttle and how well the car maintains speed through corners. So that's why it might be a little wider than normal, but you definitely want to use up the whole track for sure. Also testing the brakes to see how hard I need to brake. Well, the brakes are really effective. Yeah, we're getting there. 117 and with a little bit. Alright, let's give it a good try this time. I'm not going to talk too much because I'm going to try to focus a little bit to give it justice. Ah, come on, too wide. It's just the first lap, but... Alright, second gear here. Second gear here as well. See how early we can go on the throttle. Third gear is really nice now. We have a very smooth power band, so it doesn't kick in and it surprises at least. Alright, it's over. Okay. Yep, there we go. 115. More towards 116, but this car definitely has potential, but it needs to be a bit more consistent on over the laps, even if we're comparing a standing still start to the second flying lap. But a good car shouldn't be too dependent on whether it's a flying lap or standing. Alright, so let's give it another try and then we'll do some conclusion. And turning in too early there. trying to cut corners a little bit, because as long as it's a straight line, it's okay, but you do lose traction, of course, cutting, especially in the gravel or the grass. Well, that's a pretty good lap time so far. And felt better than it was, but it was definitely more consistent. Well, we can definitely say that the car has potential. So yeah, there you have it. That's pretty much the mindset I go through when I create a car. I set a goal for it, what I want out of it, and then I just go for it. And obviously I try to make a somewhat of a nice looking car regardless. I mean, the back end is pretty fat. I definitely like that one a lot. The front, I'm not so sure. I'm pretty well. It looks it looks okay. If I could, I would shape the grill a little bit more roundish and not as deep into the body, like I would make the line closer to the outer edge, at least on the bottom there. But yeah, those are the minor details that you're pretty much bound to anyways, with the limitations within BeamNG and well, especially automation where I make it. But yeah, there you have it. And yeah, I'll put this car on the BeamNG resources, and I'll put links and everything down in the description as soon as all that is taken care of. It may take a little while, but I'm going to do some more fine tuning so that you guys get to download a well balanced car once it's published ready. And yep, having all that said, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to catch up with upcoming events. See you in the next one.